before the dawn of man's first heartbeat, before stars carved their eternal paths through the cosmos, there were whispers, whispers of power, whispers of judgment, whispers of wrath incarnate. They spoke of Mangog, the living embodiment of a billion souls, a beast forged from the hatred of an entire race annihilated by the gods of Asgard. It was not born, it was summoned into being by vengeance itself. Not for peace, not for justice, but to raise all gods who stood tall on the corpses of the forgotten. Whenever Mangog awakens, the sky mourns, the stars tremble, and divinity itself recoils. For ages, Mangog lay imprisoned, bound in magical shackles beneath Asgard, entombed in darkness. But hatred cannot be buried. It festers, it grows, it watches. And in the silence of his imprisonment, Mangog fed on divine whispers across realms, the cries of forsaken tribes, the agony of fallen pantheons, the bitter weeping of mortals crushed under the heel of so-called higher powers. Each cry echoed through the fabric of the universe until the bindings cracked. And elsewhere, on a planet caught between its potential and its peril, Earth, another ancient force stirred, not of vengeance, but of evolution. Born thousands of years before the pyramids scraped the sky, En Sabah Nur, known to most as Apocalypse, was the first mutant, a being born with power and purpose. He was found and raised in ancient Egypt, where the harsh truths of survival carved his philosophy. Only the strong deserve to thrive. He became God, conqueror, savior, and executioner. Civilizations rose beneath his shadow and crumbled at his whim. As centuries passed, he traversed time and space, absorbing alien technologies, mastering genetic manipulation, and evolving into something more, something eternal. Yet, despite his power, Apocalypse always hungered for something deeper. A worthy challenge, not a war of mortal men or mutants, but a battle that would test the very limits of evolution itself. His gaze turned toward the cosmos. He studied pantheons, dissected myths, and unlocked celestial tombs. It was then he found mention of a force long buried beneath Asgard, a creature composed not of flesh and blood, but of hatred and god-slaying purpose. Mangog, a force not of evolution but of reckoning, a beast that devoured gods not for sport or conquest, but for vengeance. Apocalypse's curiosity mutated into obsession. In his mind, Mangog represented the ultimate test, a clash not merely of fists, but of ideologies. Could evolution overcome divine wrath? Could a mutant god, refined through eons, survive the unrelenting hatred of a billion souls? To find out, he would need to free Mangog. In the ruins of a shattered Bifrost fragment discovered deep beneath the Himalayas, Apocalypse unearthed a forbidden Asgardian rune, a remnant of Odin's own sealing magic. With it, and the aid of celestial machinery, he pierced a dimensional fracture linking Midgard to the prison that once held Mangog. The seal cracked, the stars dimmed. In the heart of a dying galaxy, the gates to Mangog's prison shattered with a scream that split the void. From the pit emerged a colossus of raw fury, eyes burning with endless rage, mouth dripping with ancient curses, fists that had once battered the gates of Valhalla itself. But Apocalypse was waiting, hovering above an obsidian platform, cloaked in techno-organic armor laced with celestial energy. He regarded the beast not with fear, but with cold admiration. "I am En Sabah Nur," he declared. "I am the past, the present, and the future. You are hate unrefined. Let us see if your hatred can withstand the weight of evolution." Mangog did not speak. He did not negotiate. He did not question. For in his soul was only one command: kill all gods. And to Mangog, Apocalypse, cloaked in divine ambition and proclaiming godhood, was a prime target. But Apocalypse had no intention of dying. No, he would force Mangog to evolve, to learn pain, to witness strategy. This was not Asgard. This was not myth. This was Earth's reckoning, and he would be its eternal fire. What followed was a wave of chaos echoing across dimensions. As Mangog stepped onto the earthly plane, the very ground wept, the oceans recoiled, the moon cracked along unseen fault lines. Spiritual guardians from Kamartaj, eternals in hiding, mutant psychics. Everyone felt the hatred descending. Yet Apocalypse stood his ground. To prepare, he activated forgotten pyramids across Egypt, drawing on ley lines that had not pulsed in 10,000 years. He forged armor in the sun's core, summoned nanite locusts forged from celestial remnants, and awakened ancient mutant lieutenants long kept in stasis. He didn't want an easy victory. He wanted a legend. But what he did not count on was Mangog's hatred mutating in return. For the longer Mangog walked the earth, the more his essence adapted, not into understanding, but into pure annihilation. Not merely gods, but anyone who claimed power without consequence. And Apocalypse, standing at the top of that pyramid of arrogance, would be the first. Now they approached the battleground, a forgotten continent that emerged from the Atlantic, summoned by Apocalypse's gravitational device, drenched in cosmic radiation and surrounded by ancient energies, lost since the fall of Atlantis. The air is thick with pressure, not just physical, but ideological. Power versus pain, mutation versus vengeance, evolution versus extinction. And as the two titans step into the center of that doomed land, eyes locked, fists clenched, skies torn open, the universe holds its breath. For in this clash, only one truth will remain, and only one will walk away. The winds howled like ancient spirits across the cursed isle. The battleground quaked, trembling under the combined presence of two forces that should never have met. One, the apex of mutant evolution. The other, the incarnation of a billion souls' wrath. Apocalypse stood tall atop a jagged rock spire, cloaked in celestial armor, eyes glowing with focused might. Mangog advanced with thunderous steps, muscles rippling like seismic waves, horned head lowered, fists clenched with god-killing intent. Without warning, Mangog launched into the air like a meteor, fist aimed at Apocalypse's chest. Apocalypse vanished in a flash of light. A circular gate shimmered where he once stood as Mangog's punch obliterated the ground, hurling rocks and energy into the sky. The crater glowed molten red. Reappearing behind the beast, Apocalypse grew in size, techno-organic limbs sharpening into spears. He drove both arms into Mangog's back, but the monster merely grunted and twisted with terrifying speed. Mangog seized Apocalypse by the throat. "God," Mangog growled, "you die first." With raw strength, Mangog slammed Apocalypse into the earth again and again, forming deep craters with each blow. On the fourth impact, Apocalypse activated a gravitational pulse. Mangog stumbled, releasing his grip as Apocalypse rose, armor cracked but aura pulsing. "You are rage," Apocalypse said, "but I am evolution." He unleashed a blast of focused energy from his celestial gauntlet, sending Mangog skidding across the island. But the beast rose again, scorched, furious, and stronger. His hatred, feeding and mutating, was adapting. They collided mid-air. Fists shattered the sound barrier. Blows cratered the land. Celestial tendrils wrapped around Mangog's neck, torn apart by a burst of godfire from his eyes. Apocalypse summoned blades, but Mangog swatted them aside with burning fists. Then came the moment of reckoning. As Apocalypse raised a hand, prepared to deliver a speech to assert dominance, Mangog roared and hurled forward with a single punch. The blow struck Apocalypse square in the chest. The mutant conqueror's armor shattered in an explosion of sparks. He was launched into the mountainside, buried beneath stone and fire. Mangog pounded forward, unrelenting. But Apocalypse, bloodied and staggering, activated Stage Omega, his final form. Nanotech armor surged over his body, forearms forming, weapons pulsing with unstable energy. He rose like a titan, screaming, "I will teach even vengeance to evolve." The island erupted into fire as they clashed once more atop a volcanic ridge. Lava surged, lightning split the sky, and time itself seemed to slow. Apocalypse unleashed a final beam, pure evolutionary energy, targeting Mangog's heart. The blast struck. Mangog stumbled, screaming, falling to one knee. He roared, swung again, but faltered, his body finally slowing. Then he collapsed. Apocalypse dropped beside him, arm missing, breathing heavily. "You were worthy," he said. "Winner, Apocalypse." But the cost was immense.